Hello everybody, my name is Dylan Heinrich. I am the volleyball writer for Rock M Nation, and I am joined today by Caylen Alexander, the outside hitter and Hawaii transfer. Caylen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. A nice little time to sleep in, so yeah, doing good.
It's very important, you know, those early morning classes, that's going to be the death of me, I swear.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me. We're going to be talking to Caylen a little bit about her life in this first interview episode of Over the Net. So we'll start at the very beginning. If you want to talk a little bit about your childhood and what kind of brought you to volleyball specifically.
Well, we originally grew up in Kansas City, and then by the time I was in like 6th grade, we moved to Georgia. And my mom was like, let's get you in sports to make friends, because like I was in a whole new area. And so I joined the middle school program there, and I just met like all of my best friends. And then like it was a cool way to make like more friends that didn't play volleyball, because it was just like a little cool fact I had. And then eventually I started playing club after 6th grade, and I played for a smaller club in 6th and 7th grade, and then 8th grade I moved to A5 because it was closer and it was more competitive. And so I stayed at A5 from 14 to 18. And then, yeah, it was just a whole new world after that.
We'll back up a little bit. You talked about living in KC. Do you remember anything at all about KC and living in that environment?
Not really. I just remember that it was like very gray, and I just remember tornado season. That's like the only thing that I really remember. Even though I was there for like 9 years, but yeah, I don't really remember too much.
100%. Like you said, you played volleyball and got into the middle school team. What drew you to volleyball? What do you think, and why do you stick with it for so long?
Yeah. I think the reason that I stuck with it is because like I would always watch the older girls play, and I was like, man, that would be so cool if I could like be that good, because it just looked like even more fun when it was more competitive. And so that kind of pushed me to stick with it. And then like, I don't know, seeing everyone progress each year with the sport like that you were close with, it just kind of makes you want to work harder and get better yourself. So I think that's why I stuck with it.
What was it like for you to get better and better and better every single year?
It was really fun. I remember when I finally learned how to hit the ball down and not serve it. And so I think like once I learned how to like actually hit and like everything like that, I was kind of like, okay, this is really fun. I feel like I can get really good at this, so I'm just going to stick with it because I love it.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you are the youngest in the family, is this correct?
Yes.
Well, what was it like being the youngest member of the family? I mean, the baby.
Well, apparently I like ran the household. Like I was kind of the one that was like picking at everyone. So now that's completely changed. I feel like I was very like rambunctious when I was a kid and things like that. So it was fun. And then I love my 2 older sisters. I look up to them a lot. So it was just a really fun household overall.
What's it kind of like to, again, see your older sisters as they move on a couple years ahead of you and what you've been able to learn from them?
Yeah, it was kind of sad because like they're pretty older than me, so they like have been to college, and they were in college like when I was in like elementary and middle school. So I didn't really see them like a whole bunch, and so I think like seeing what they got to do in college and everything like that, it kind of made me want to go to college more and just kind of like pursue like literally anything, because like the way they described college was just kind of like, I don't know, it just sounded so much more fun, and I was just like, I can't wait.
I know we're jumping ahead, but did it live up to the expectations as college, everything that you could have imagined?
Oh yeah, especially because I got to go to like Hawaii for 3 years, and then like I got to transfer and come here for my last year. I think my college experience has been like very surreal.
Speaking of playing at Hawaii, what was that like? Obviously, it's a pretty unique environment, a very beautiful place to live. So what was it like going from Georgia all the way to Hawaii, especially cross country?
I didn't think that it would be such a big change, but I also didn't realize how far it was. So the first week that I was there was like very tough, because I thought that I was going to be like, oh, it's going to be so much fun. Like none of my family's here. And then like once I got there, I was like, shoot, I'm like all alone and like literally an island. So that was like really crazy. But after like a week of like kind of being sad and lonely, it was very like simple to adjust and everything. I would say like the environment there was like pretty intense because like we had to train hard because like our travel schedule was hard. Like everything was kind of difficult there because you're just in the middle of the ocean. And so I would just describe my old experience as just like intense.
You touched a little bit on that travel schedule, but you're constantly going to places like California, Oregon, which doesn't sound very far, but when you're on that island, that's a like 5-6 hour
Yes.
flight. So what was it like having to constantly travel back to the mainland?
It was very weird. I think I kind of lost the concept of time because it was just like the time change was always getting me. Like, you would leave Hawaii at like 9 a.m., then you get to California at like 9 p.m. So we would just be traveling like all day. And then as soon as we would like go to bed the next day, we had early practices and things like that. So it was definitely hard to like, get acclimated to that type of schedule. But I think once I kind of set up a routine, it definitely got easier, but it was still always pretty hard.
What do you think was your favorite part about living slash playing in Hawaii? I know there's a lot of things to choose from.
I would say the main thing that I miss is like the fruit and like the acai bowls and things like that. I also miss living so close to the beach, but now we have the lake, and I found out that I really love the lake. We had like a bunch of lake retreats this week, or not this week, during double days. And so like just finding like little bits and pieces of similarities is like always cool.
Is there a major difference between lakes and oceans to you, or would you say you have a pretty darn good
Um,
time at both?
I would say lakes are like a lot easier to swim in. I feel like whenever I swim in the ocean, I'm like really scared because I just don't know what's like around me. But I think the lake is a bit more fun 'cause it's just kind of like you really just jump in and you can just stay in there all night. Like, it's crazy, but I do miss the ocean and the waves and things like that.
Luckily, I don't think we have any jellyfish in the Ozarks. Just a hunch.
Thank goodness.
And so, at Hawaii in your last year, you were the NCAA kills leader, honorable All-American. What was that kind of like for you to be recognized in such a way and kind of go through all that press process?
It was really fun. I think I spent a lot of time in my summer before junior year, like training and things like that. I didn't really touch a volleyball, but I was just like working on like my speed and like other things. So I would just like go do yoga, try and work on my core, and then I would do footwork stuff at home to like make sure that my footwork was good. And then like every now and again, I would just go in the gym and work on my serve receive. So it was just like really gratifying to see that like the work that I have put in my off time was like paying off. And once we had like our first like preseason game, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a fun season. So yeah.
Very cool. You said you did your 3 years with Hawaii, then you decide to enter the transfer portal. What kind of went into that process? Because it never seems to be easy for anyone.
Yeah. So as soon as I entered the portal, it was really crazy. When I was getting recruited in the first place, I only had two offers, and that was Hawaii and then a school in Chicago. So then, like, once I was like, I had a name for myself and everything, and like there was a bunch of schools reaching out to me, I knew I kind of needed to like set like personal values for me that's important to me so that I wasn't making the wrong decision. So like the main thing that I wanted was like a strong team that like is very gelled and it's kind of like us against the world. And then I also wanted a really supportive staff that just kind of like lets me like have creative control in a way, but also like we can work together. And I think right now I'm finally finding my groove with the team, with the coaches. So I'm super excited for this weekend. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a busy weekend ahead. We'll touch on
Yes.
that a little bit. I remember, I believe when we spoke a couple of weeks ago at practice, you mentioned the importance of transferring to the SEC. What do you think made this conference stand out so much to you?
I think that a lot of girls from my club team at A5, they were at like SEC schools. So obviously like I had them on Instagram, I'm always following and things like that. And so like just seeing like the games and like the level of competition, how it's just kind of like there's an upset like every single week in the SEC or something like that. And it was just kind of like coming from Big West, our conference wasn't very competitive. And so I was just kind of like, I want to challenge myself as much as I can, especially for my last year, so I'm not complacent. And so I knew that I just really wanted to be in the SEC.
How are you feeling heading into this weekend? Obviously, a couple top 25
Mhm.
matchups you wanted to be testing. I
Yeah.
think this is a pretty good test.
I'm super excited. I think we've been waiting for a team to challenge us. I think last weekend when we went to Illinois, it was kind of like a good thing to just keep our legs moving. But I think this week, like, we're super excited to have a team that's, supposedly supposed to beat us, and just like having that chance to be able to like upset them and things like that. Like the practice gym has just like went to a different level. Everyone's so dialed in practice, and you can just tell like everyone wants to win.
We talked a little bit about your offense earlier, but another portion of your game that I don't think it's talked about enough is your defensive ability. How important is it to, in your perspective, be that weapon not only on offense but defensively to keep points alive?
Yeah. At my old school, they prioritized defense a lot, and it was just kind of like, how can we keep the ball in play and give ourselves another play to last? And so I really wanted to carry that over to Mizzou because I think that that's just such an important skill to have, and just having like that mentality that like no ball is going to touch the floor and like you want to better each ball for your teammates. I think that's why I've been so consistent in my defense.
You talked earlier as well about your relationship and wanting that strong bond with your team. Now that we're officially a month into the season, how would you say the team's kind of been gelling together and working so well?
It's so fun because like I really seen everyone's personalities just like come out. Like obviously from spring when like everyone was new and like we all were just kind of very unsure about the process, and then like now like I feel like I can really go up and talk to anyone about my day. Like whenever I see them like outside of volleyball, I'm like screaming their name and I'm like, how are you? And things like that. So it's just kind of like I wanted teammates who I can be friends with off the court, but once we start playing, it's like serious.
Do you have any fun stories, fun little anecdotes from the team that you could be willing to share?
Let me think. I think what was the funniest thing to me was our lake retreat. We went to one of our donors' lake houses, and he had like this like stand that you could jump off of, and it was like literally everyone at the lake but me, Tyra, and Caylen Rush were trying to do like gators and like do that. So we were at that lake for so long, and then like everyone was out there too, and it was just so fun like seeing like what everyone loves about the water and stuff like that, if that makes sense. But I think that was just like a really cool bonding moment, like just literally sitting at the lake for like 10 plus hours, and then like we had practice the next day. So that's definitely been like one of my favorite memories from here.
Sounds like a pretty exhausting weekend. Sure. So you also talked about your relationship with the staff. How do you think you've been able to work with the staff as a whole, and specifically Coach Sullivan?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that's like something that I have been having to work on is just like making sure that I communicate well. Like if I want to do something differently, if there's something I want to work on. And I think that was definitely a challenge for me at first because I'm just not used to telling people what I want to do and it being done. And so like now that I can like trust like Don and Wendell, like I text them any second and I know I'm just going to get a text back right away. Like if I want any gym time, I know that they are going to want to be there with me and like helping me out, and like just like seeing how they take the time out of their day to help us out, like it really builds that trust even further.
What's it like for you to put in all these extra hours? Because obviously they're extra. It's time out of your day. What motivates you to always be in said gym or always working out?
I would say the team. I think like just wanting to be the best version of yourself for the team. And a lot of times after practice, like everyone is getting extra reps, even if we just played like a game's 25, like as soon as practice is over, like you see like half the team getting like even more reps. So it's just kind of like that domino effect where it's like, I want to be better for the team and I want to like be a part of the reason why this team is great. And so I think that's why I just want to be in the gym, like any extra time I can take, just trying new things, trying to get better at the things that I already have and things like that. So yeah, it's all for the team.
Awesome. We talked a lot about you as an athlete, but obviously there's the student portion of that as well. So I think what are you studying here at Mizzou?
I'm studying psychology. I want to go into something with like developmental psychology. I'm not sure yet, But yeah, just going through that.
Can you explain developmental psychology to someone
Yeah.
who maybe isn't familiar?
Basically, you're just like trying to figure out how like the environment and like a child's genetics can like, I guess, shape their lives and like their behaviors and things like that. And so it's basically just trying to figure out like if a child is acting a certain way consistently, are they really like a bad child, or are they just like going through something like that? And I love children. I love like just being around them. And so I think that, and I'm also like, I feel like I'm very childish. So I think I can like relate to them and things like that. And like being able to help a child out like mentally, I feel like would be so like rewarding for me.
Very cool. Do you have a certain age range that you can kind of relate or talk to? I know some people work better with different ages.
Yeah, I really do love like kindergartners, really any age. Like, I don't mind.
Very cool. So if you're not in school, if you're not in volleyball, what else are you filling your time with? What else is important to Caylen
Yeah.
Alexander?
I really am like trying to just get out of the house because I already have like all online classes. So if it was up to me, I would just stay in my room all day. But I try and like go out and just like buy some stuff for my room. I've really gotten into like decorating and things like that. And then I also really have found a joy in shopping. So I'll online shop a lot. And I do like to read, so I'll read a couple books, and then sometimes I'll crochet, but I haven't been on that grind too much lately because I haven't had a lot of time, but I do need to get back on it. But yeah, I have a lot of hobbies.
Very cool. I'm expecting to see some wonderful crochet projects once the season's over.
Yeah.
You talked about decorating. Is there like a favorite decoration you have in your room / house that's always a fun story?
I would say my squishmallows are like my biggest decoration. I only have like 4 right now, but there was a time like in high school where I literally had like 18 and it like covered my bed. And it was because like me and my friends, we would like go out and like collect them. Like we would see like a new one that came out and we would collect them. And then we made like an Instagram page. So I think that my squishmallows are like my most prized possession.
Do you think you could grab one of them real quick?
Yeah. Okay. So this is one of them. It's like a frog / giraffe. And then I have this like cow one. This one's really cute. I like her. His little tail. So yeah. That's him.
I love that they're all gold, staying on brand.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Now, I guess season's a little over halfway down, or a little under. We're around the midway point.
Yeah.
As we kind of look ahead towards, I guess, the most important part of the season, SEC play, postseason. What are some of the goals that you have for your team and then for yourself as well?
I would say that my goals for the team is just like what do we do when we face adversity and things like that. I think right now we've been kind of having some trouble starting off strong, which is like an easy thing to fix. And it's definitely been something that we're focusing on a lot in practice because like a strong start will always get you like closer to winning the set faster. So just things like that. And also just finding out like new ways to score, like, you know, trying new combos, putting people on things that they haven't hit yet. But I think the cool thing about this team is that everyone is so like diverse in their positions. Like if you're a middle, you can hit right side. If you're right side, you can hit like outside and things like that. Like everyone can hit wherever you put them. And it's just like at the end of the day, like what can I do to help the team be better? And so you can really see that happening this week. And then what was your other question? I'm sorry. I forgot.
You're good. Moso, I appreciate you talking about the team, but from an individual perspective, you talk about what can you do to make the team better as well.
I think one thing that I can do better is definitely I can be better with my offense. I think, you know, this weekend I wasn't too satisfied with my performance and things like that. But again, it's an easy fix. So I like just immediately texted Dawn and just asking her to help me with my swing and things like that. And her and Wendell were like already downstairs, like waiting for me. So I'm really excited for that. But I also just like Yeah, I think my serve receive and my defense are pretty good, but I just want to be a bit stronger offensively.
Wonderful. Those are all the questions I have. While I have you, is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to say to the listeners?
Mm-hmm. I hope to see you guys at our next home game. I know we're not home a lot, but it will mean a lot for you guys to come to every home game that we have. So yeah, that's all.
Yes, I believe that's October 3rd. It's
Yes,
against Arkansas or Oklahoma. So if you can, show up. So
yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Caylen. It is greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Of course. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.